Okie dokie, where is... Our weekly Q&A. As usual, I'm just trying to set up my little settings here. Oh no, oh good. Got the comments. Awesome. Okay. Okie dokie. Just... Okay, all good. All good. Think I'm here. Okay, so good morning if you're in Australia. I'm in Australia, so it's a Sunday morning here at just after 8 a.m. Wherever you are in the world, a big hello and a big welcome to all our new members in the group. We got a lot of members in the group this week, so a big welcome to all our new members. I'll pop up a welcome post for you after I finish this live this morning. And I'll tell you a little bit of information about the group. But just a summary, it's a supportive group for everybody who has an off-the-track thoroughbred, or even if you don't have an off-the-track thoroughbred, you may have a standee. You may be planning on getting an off-the-track thoroughbred, but it's a support group on learning how to retrain your off-the-track thoroughbred, or getting tips and training tips, reaching out for help. So you can pop up posts anytime in this group. And pop up a post, ask a question, share your successes, share your struggles. I'm in the group every day, so if you want to ask me a question anytime other than the Q&A here, you're more than welcome to. Just pop up a post in the group, and you can ask anyone in the group, including myself. Our group is growing really well, actually. So there's some experienced people in this group. There's also a combination of people that have just got their first off-the-track thoroughbred. So this group is for you guys, so go for it. Feel free to pop up a post anytime. The only thing, as I say, is no sales posts, particularly horses, but Facebook. One, it's an educational group, it's a social learning group, so we'll keep it sales free. More than if you're looking for adjustment or something like that, feel free. Or even if you've I know there's a post offering adjustment and services, so you can that's okay to do that, but generally definitely no horse sales or anything like that, because it's more of an educational group and a support for you guys on your retraining journey with your off the track thoroughbred. It's really it's not an easy path. I'm just going to go down here. I was just reading something here. Might read it. I actually haven't got a question in this. I haven't got any questions that have come through to target on. Excuse me. In this live, so if you come on live and you want to ask me a question, just pop it in the comments. I'll just make sure my comments is here. Yep. Other than that, I'll just talk, which I'm really good at. So I was just looking at also too an article. I might have a quick brief at it while we're live, about cribbing horses. Quite a few off the track thoroughbreds crib. We'll have a read of that in a moment, hey? What do you reckon? Okay, so I just had a puppy here. So as usual, I've got some puppies in my video. I've got Poppy here sitting next to me. She's asleep. Crystal is at the door. I've got, what have I got? 6 puppies. I've got Bailey underneath my feet here. Ruby's asleep. They're all just relaxing. My dog is just, my life is just horses and dogs. So as I said, if you've got a question, pop them in the comments. Otherwise, I've got a couple of topics I want to talk about. Once again, a big welcome to all our new members. So the group has just a little, give you a little bit of a tour of the group. So the group has, we've got up the top, I don't know if I can look at it while I can do screen share, but last time I did screen share, it didn't show. So I'll work out how to do that. Otherwise, I might organize a Zoom session or something. But yeah, I wanted to screen share and just show you a couple of things, but for some reason, I can't work out how Facebook Live does screen share. I did try it once and it didn't share. So tech is a challenge. Hey. Anyway, just at the top of the group, we've got you have announcements. So anything that I've maybe recently put on, any courses or promote, the membership is currently something new at the moment. Some YouTube videos that I may have put up. Also, too, there's the guide section. So there's some articles and sort of steps of where to start with your off the track thoroughbred in the guide section. So I do equitation. I use equitation science training and principles as the base of retraining. So my training, whether it's retraining off the track thoroughbreds or just generally training, I use equitation science principles. I combine that too with a lot of body work and also a holistic approach. So I'm very big on an holistic approach when it comes to retraining off the track thoroughbreds. So looking at the physical rehabilitation when it comes to their body, addressing gastric ulcers, and not only that, but psychological rehabilitation. So off the track thoroughbreds have come from a very demanding industry, and I think that's not a lot is spoken about that when it comes to how off the track thoroughbreds are different than other horses. I've worked, if you don't know my history, my background, I've worked in the thoroughbred racing industry for over 17 years. I've recently just retired from track work after riding track work daily for 17 and a half years. And I know thoroughbred racehorses really well. And I know the demands that are put on them. I know the life that they live. And it's very, very demanding. And it's a lot of pressure put on young horses. They enter racing very young and they don't know anything else. They don't know anything different other than racing life. So quite often they can come out of racing with a little bit of, not a little bit, sometimes a lot of PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder, a bit like what humans get. The thing is with horses, they are a flight animal. They are a fear animal, and their first response is to flee. And if they can't flee, they'll show their stress in other behaviors. So I think it's important to understand a little bit about how horses work, and then looking at our off the track thoroughbreds and looking at the type of environment that they've come from. I just love thoroughbred racehorses, and I've rescued quite a few of them. But they're amazing animals. I've had some issues working in racing. I'm having to deal with the welfare issues, and hence probably the reason that I've recently retired from track work after all these years. Not only that, also too, injuries. I've had my fair share of injuries, and I'm 50, what am I? 52, nearly 53. So your body can only take so much. It's been very hard to leave track work because it's been a big part of my life. Also retraining off the track thoroughbreds, but there's a time when you have to open up the next chapter of your life. And this is it for me. So my plan is to use all these years, nearly 20 years of experience working within the thoroughbred racing industry, and also having off the track thoroughbreds. So before I even worked in racing, I worked in riding schools. I taught in riding schools, and I got my first off the track thoroughbred back in 1998. And wow, what a challenge that was before I even knew about thoroughbred racehorses. So I've been there on both sides, and hence now I actually have 19 of my own horses, for anyone who doesn't know, and 17 of those are off the track thoroughbred. So yes, I understand the thoroughbred racehorse, and I'm very passionate about their welfare after racing. And I'm very passionate about helping you guys, all you wonderful people that take on off the track thoroughbreds, because it's not easy. Sometimes you can, I'm not going to say it's not easy, but it just needs a different approach, and it quite often takes a lot longer to get to move forward with an off the track thoroughbred than it does with other horses, once again, because they have come from a completely, a very demanding industry. So yeah, a little bit of a talk there. As I said, if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below. And I just had a look here. Interesting. I wanted to talk a little bit. If I haven't got any questions come in, I just wanted to talk a little bit. Actually, I'll go back and just say, everyone who has joined the group, thank you so much for answering the questions. It's such a wonderful insight into what you guys are struggling with. I've kept every single question. So I ask when you join the group, I ask, what's your biggest struggle with your off the track thoroughbred? And I've kept every single question. So I will go through all of those. There's so many questions, but it's wonderful feedback for me. And I'll work out a way. I might even pick a question out of the box each week or something, and we can talk about that. So it's fantastic that you're answering those questions, because I'll go through and I build my topics around that as well. So everything that I teach is helping you guys to move forward. And then what was I going to talk about after that? That's right. So I wanted to. I suppose I'll do a little bit of a spin about my my online course and my monthly membership. So if you're not so this is our free group, and I've put up trainings and I share my YouTube videos. One of my dogs is. Yeah, okay, Suki? Don't vomit on the lounge. But she's going to be sick then. So this is our free group, and it's a support group for you guys. You can post and ask any question that you want. If I don't know the answer to it, or if anyone doesn't know the answer to it, I'll do my best to go and research it for you and find out. Also, too, I have an online course as well called the KICKSTART Roadmap to Off the Track Thoroughbred Success. And it's a course. It's sort of like what I wanted to do is set up a really good foundation for off the track thoroughbred owners to understand, like going right back to the basics, where to start when you retrain an off the track thoroughbred. So the KICKSTART Roadmap to Off the Track Thoroughbred Success is like a foundation course. It's it goes through. I'll go through my first modules. The off the track, the thoroughbred racehorse and their life in racing. So the daily life in racing. So when they enter racing, and basically where they start, I look at their diet, I look at their training regime. Wish I could open up the screen share here, but anyway. So basically get a really good look at thoroughbred racehorses and their life in racing. So it gives you an understanding of your off-the-track thoroughbred and where they've come from. And then I look at, I actually go through, so I'm thinking of the modules now, the positives and the negatives of owning an off-the-track thoroughbred. So you can see all the positives, and then we go through the negatives as well. And then we move on to, so this is what I talk about in this group here, is when retraining an off-the-track thoroughbred, it's really important to have a look at a holistic approach. So not only just your re-education, and even some people don't understand that off-the-track thoroughbreds need re-educating. So they're being ridden completely different than other horses. And so when we get them, I'm losing my voice here. When we get them off the track, they're quite often, my voice, where's my voice going? They're quite often very heavy in the bridle. They can be very sensitive to the leg, or they can be very dull to your leg aid. And this is really, really common. So people sort of struggle with this very heavy feeling in front when they get an off the track thoroughbred. They're often not balanced. They don't go, so when you're doing your circle work and wanting to do your dressage movements and that. I mean, there's no way an off the track thoroughbred is going to be able to go out there and do a dressage test because a good dressage test, because they haven't worked like that. They tend to, we basically go around in one direction. And also too, as track work riders, we're in a different riding position. So we're up off the neck. We have a very steady hold with the reins, and the racehorse quite often will lean into the bridle and bit. So they use the bridle and the bit as a form of balance support. They lean into the bridle to help them balance a lot of the time. So when you're getting your off the track thoroughbred and you're riding, you feel they want to lean into the bit a lot. They quite often feel like they have a lot of their weight on their front end. So it's a rehabilitation process to actually train them to use their body in a different way. Not only that, we have to look at the physical. Quite a lot of physical injuries can happen to off the track to thoroughbred racehorses, and quite often your off the track thoroughbred will come out of racing with some injuries, or even old injuries where scar tissue has developed. So it's really important to address the body of your horse. Have a look, get a body worker out, chiropractor, a massage therapist. And then if you're still having issues and you think your horse isn't happy, still displaying some type of behavior issues such as pig rooting, going further, I also recommend a vet assessment. Quite often they may have kissing spine, so it's worth getting a good vet assessment at the beginning of your retraining process. Then if you're getting halfway through and then really struggling with some issues, whether it be behavior issues, your horse not wanting to go forward. So it's important to eliminate any pain causes for behavior issues. So going back to the process of retraining off the track thoroughbreds is very holistic. So not only are we looking at re-education, so retraining them and going back like you would start a fresh horse that hasn't been educated to the saddle yet. You train them in hand first, and then you introduce them to the saddle. Well, with our thoroughbred racehorses, they've obviously been so-called broken into saddle, as the old sort of school way of saying it. But they become very dull to the aids and your stop and go responses. So in our equestrian disciplines, we want them to be very light to our rein aids and very light to our leg aids. In racing, they're very heavy to the rein aids, and as I said before, they use the bit quite often as a form of balance to help them balance. And so the re-education process to retrain what is called the basic responses of your stop and go with your rein and your leg aids, and your turning, so giving to pressure, so asking them to move off first in hand, to move like through their ribs, so leg yield away, move their hindquarters away. So you want them very fluid and mobile in hand first, moving away from light pressure, so they understand what is called pressure release. So in racing, they've habituated to a lot of pressure. They don't have any release of pressure. Okay, so they habituate to the pressure. There's no release of the bit pressure, and if anything, when bit pressure is released, they are asked then to push out and go faster in their gallops and things like that. So it's a whole new world for them when they come off the track, and we need to realize that, and realize that sometimes it takes time and patience. Going back to the holistic approach to retraining, it's the re-education, but then we're looking at the physical rehabilitation, addressing injuries, addressing gastric ulcers, what's really, really important, addressing the psychological well-being of your horse. So off the track thoroughbreds will have a lot of negative associations with being ridden. Quite often they'll have negative associations with going out to work, because racing is very demanding, track work is very demanding, and they'll be working quite often. They'll be muscle sore after a hard gallop. They may have some underlying injuries which aren't identified, so they're continually made to work through niggling pains and niggling injuries. And so not only is that affecting them physically in their movement, but mentally and psychological with their associations of being ridden, with their associations of them going out to work. So we want to always have our horse to have a positive association with us, with being handled, with going out and being ridden. And the issue with off the track thoroughbreds is a lot of their associations are going to be negative. They're going to associate it with a negative experience, and therefore will show behavior problems, other than the re-education of not going forward, because of habituating to pressure and that not being clear in their training responses. They're also going to have psychological resistances because of memories. It's like us. If we have a memory of, as a child, I had some bad memories in primary school of going to school. So your child wakes up and they don't want to go to school. Why don't they want to go to school? Because maybe they're being bullied, they're being picked on, and so their association with going to school is negative. Therefore, they might have a tantrum. They don't want to go to school. So they're not physically in pain, but they have that association of school as scary, as bringing bad feelings and bad emotions and experiences. So the same thing with our horse. Okay, their association with maybe being saddled, being girthed up, because it's a very rush environment in racing. So things like, going in, and because the horses have to come and go, and there's a track work rider coming in and they need to go to another stable. So it's rush, hurry up, get that horse out. So the foreman or the stable hand will go in, saddle the horse, and it's really quickly. If the horse moves around, quite often, horses won't stand still when they're being saddled, and they're not asked to stand still. They may be, what's the word? Growled at or pulled up for moving around, but they'll be saddling and they'll be moving around. So, I mean, obviously we don't want that when we have them off the track. We want them to be standing still and nice and relaxed when they're being saddled, but that's not a priority in racing. It's about getting the saddle on, and, they might get roared at. I'm trying to think of the word. When you get cranky at someone. Anyway, you understand what I mean. And they might even get punished for it, smacked, or, I mean, I've seen horrendous things where horses haven't stood still, being saddled, and then they've been kicked in the ribs. I've seen that with farriers in racing as well. The horse won't stand still, so the farrier comes in, gives them a knee in the ribs or whacks them with a rasp or something. It's terrible. And what's that going to do? That's not only going to create fear in the horse, but it's going to create a negative association with being saddled, with the farrier, with all those experiences. And so there's a lot of negative associations there, and just even being saddled, being handled. So the strapper comes in and ties the horse up, gets their rug off really quickly. If they don't stand still, they might get growled at. And so when you get your off the track thoroughbred, they might not be very friendly, or they quite often too, they don't like being touched. And there's a few reasons for one. One is the negative association they have with being handled by humans. Two is it can be gastric ulcers. Three is racehorses have quite a lot of detachment, because they've entered racing so young. They're being taken, so they're individually stabled, so they're missing that the social physical interaction that horses need to be healthy. They don't have that. That's a bit of a topic in itself. So there's so many so many issues to address with off the track thoroughbreds. And going back to my online course, I talk all about this, and explain it to you, so you have a really good outlook and understanding of your off the track thoroughbred, and what you need to address, the steps that you need to take to retrain your thoroughbred the right way, and to retrain them successfully. So I just wanted to let you know about the Kickstart roadmap to off the track thoroughbred success, because I think that anyone who feels like it might be they're interested in doing it, it's really, really good. I've had some really good feedback on the course, and you have it for life as well. So I just wanted to also mention that at the moment I have just opened, so I've got the Academy, Off the Track Thoroughbred Success Academy membership. And that is a monthly subscription membership where you have access to the Kickstart Roadmap course. And then you are a founding member in the membership. So I will be continually popping more online courses and trainings into the membership. And you have access to all of that. And so the next course is going to be going through the re-education process. So this is going to be with the current Off the Track Thoroughbred that I have. I've filmed his whole training process from day one, and I'm going to be turning that into an online course and a training series, and that is going to be in the membership program. And at the moment, if you want to join the membership program, all you need to do is there's a one-off, very discounted payment for the Kickstart Roadmap, and that gives you lifetime ownership and access to the Roadmap course, as well as lifetime membership to the Academy membership. So you never have to pay anything again. Instead of paying a monthly subscription, you're a lifetime member of the Off the Track Thoroughbreds Success Academy and all the trainings that are in that. So this is only for a limited time, because it's only to get you guys, give you a good start and the gift of the membership, so that you can be our founding members, and then just think in years when there's so much training in there. It's also, I'm doing monthly training, so 2 Zoom sessions a month in the academy as well. So you get all of that if you purchase the Kickstart Roadmap. And as I said, you don't have to pay anything other than the one-off payment. So the membership is going to be, at the moment it is, I haven't got the doors open, because you're getting the one-off. You just purchase a Kickstart Roadmap, and then you have lifetime access to the membership. But then when we have our founding members, I'm going to cap it at our first 50 members, but I'll have a think of that. If you're interested, just pop in the comments below. Anyway, let me know, and I'll pop up another link in the group. And then the membership is going to go up to be $49 a month. So so it's going to be really good value if you feel like it's something that you're really keen on. The membership is only new. I've only got so we're literally just starting, and you'll follow through. So you'll be the founding members, where we'll work through the next course with Ty together. So I'll sort of do the live Zoom lessons, and so we'll work through it together. So you'll be part of the growth of the membership, and you can tell me what helps, and what you would like. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Let me know if you're keen, and I can give you some more information on that. And if you wanted some more information on the Kickstart Roadmap. And so that's a little mention of the membership program that I have, and the special that's on at the moment. And if you have any questions, let me know. I was just having a look here, so I'll read this up as well, because quite often I just wanted to have a chat about cribbing, so wind sucking in Off the Track Thoroughbred. So this is a big issue in racing generally. Quite a lot of thoroughbred racehorses wind suck, and I have 4 of them myself. But I just saw this little thing, the effect of diet on cribbing behavior and plasma endorphins in horses. So this is going to be interesting. I'll share this with you guys. Let me just have a read here. Feeding around. Here we go. 5 cribbing horses and 6 control horses were used in a dietary study to investigate the effects of different diets on the frequency of cribbing behavior and plasma levels in the horse. Feeding grain or sweetened grain rations was found to cause a significant increase in the cribbing frequency, whereas alfalfa pelleted hay was without significant effect on the frequency of the behavior. I'll find out about that, and we'll talk about that. But I know definitely wind sucking and cribbing is a big issue in racing, and quite often it's a sign of horses will start it because of gastric ulcer pain. Apparently, just the small significant time frame of them sucking back air gives momentarily relief of the pain of gastric ulcers. And then also to that, horses, they say that they get a release of endorphins when they wind suck. So it then becomes a chronic habit, and it's really hard to deal with. So we'll talk about that in the future. I might do a live on wind sucking and do a little bit of research for you. But definitely, if you have a wind sucker or any off the track thoroughbred, I recommend having them on a grain-free diet. Grain is not good for horses, and also too, it affects wind sucking, because if you've got a grain diet, it causes acidity, a highly acidic hindgut. It can also exacerbate current ulcers and cause ulcers. So yeah, cribbing horses and grain, having grain diets doesn't work well. But we'll talk for that. That'll be another topic, because I have a read of this article. It looks really interesting. Anyway, I might leave the live there. Yeah, look, once again, a big welcome to our new members in the group, and I'll pop up a welcome post for you. Feel free, pop up a post anytime in the group. Share your wins, your struggles, ask a question. And yeah, as I said, I'm in the group daily, and I will get to your post as soon as I can if you have a question. Anyway, have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, or an afternoon or an evening, and I will see you in the group, and I'll see you next week for our next Q&A. Okay, bye.